Conclusion: nothing is more terrible than ignorance in action. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. There is a lot of misinformation about vegetarianism in the world. One such piece of misinformation is that you can get all your nutrients from plants. This is simply not true. These are just a few nutritional deficiencies commonly found in vegetarians. Vitamin B12 deficiency is very common amongst plant-eating people because this vitamin comes exclusively from animal foods. It is one of the most essential substances for our bodies to function properly. Your brain, the rest of your nervous system, your immune system, and all other organs in the body require this vitamin. Our blood composition is particularly vulnerable to deficiency in vitamin B12, which leads to pernicious anemia. People can take supplements of this vitamin, but in order to process it properly, the body requires protein. Good quality protein comes only from animal foods, so the bodies of many vegetarians are unable to use vitamin B12 from supplements. Our gut flora produces this vitamin, but unfortunately many people in our modern world have unhealthy gut flora, including many vegetarians. It is essential for all humans to consume at least some animal foods. Vegetarians who eat eggs and dairy need to make sure they consume enough of these foods to supply them with this vital vitamin. Animal liver provides large amounts of vitamin B12 in combination with protein, fat-soluble vitamins, and all other nutrients necessary for the body to use B12 appropriately. Even Max Gerson, the creator of the Gerson Protocol for treating cancer, a vegan protocol, included raw liver in his patient's diet. Vitamin A is an essential substance for the human body. Our brain, eyes, immune system, and all cells in the body require this vitamin for their structure and function. Plants do not contain functional vitamin A retinol. Instead, they contain carotenoids, which in a healthy body can be converted into retinol. The problem is that environmental toxins and nutritional deficiencies are able to block this conversion, so many people are unable to convert plant carotenoids into real vitamin A. Despite eating plenty of carrots, sweet potatoes, kale, and other plants rich in carotenoids, these people develop vitamin A deficiency. Real functional vitamin A is found only in animal foods, and the richest sources are organ meats, liver in particular. Eggs and butter also contain good amounts of vitamin A. Vegetarians have to be aware of this fact and make sure they eat plenty of eggs, ghee, and butter. When you start developing vitamin A deficiency, your immune system gets compromised and you start getting infections. This is important to watch for. The problem is that very often the immune system of vegans is not in a fit state to launch a proper reaction to a microbe. When we get a common cold, it is not the virus that gives us high temperature, headache, runny nose, sneezing, and all the other symptoms. It is our own immune system that is causing all these uncomfortable symptoms because it is fighting the virus. Some vegans will tell you that they never get colds. The reality is that they get the viruses, but their immune system is unable to launch any defense against these viruses. So the person doesn't get any symptoms, while the virus just gets into the body and settles in. Vitamin D is only present in animal foods. Fish livers and oily fish are the richest sources of this vitamin. When we sunbathe, cholesterol in our skin is converted into vitamin D. That is why this vitamin is called the sunshine vitamin. Plant foods do not provide any cholesterol, so the body of a person on a plant-based diet has to work very hard to manufacture cholesterol and send it to the skin to be converted into vitamin D. Eggs from birds that are raised under sunshine on pasture contain a good amount of vitamin D. The same goes for milk and butter. The cows or goats must graze in the sunshine on pasture in order to have vitamin D in their milk. When we don't have enough vitamin D, most things in the body go wrong. This vitamin has been called a hormone by researchers because its effects in the body are so numerous and profound. The body cannot build bones without this vitamin. Deficiency leads to osteoporosis, rickets, and osteomalacia. Every degenerative disease, including heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, are linked to low levels of vitamin D in the body. Lack of vitamin D is also linked to neurological and mental illness. Vegetarians must consume good quality eggs and dairy products, and they need to make sure they sunbathe in as much as possible to maintain normal levels of this vital vitamin in their bodies. Research has discovered that the majority of the Western population has low levels of vitamin D. This is not surprising as we live in a world of sun phobia and cholesterol phobia. Both cholesterol and sunshine are essential for us, but the population has been subjected to a long period of faulty propaganda against them. It is beyond the scope of this book to cover this subject fully. Please read my book, Put Your Heart in Your Mouth, to get a good understanding of this subject. Some mushrooms can provide vitamin D when exposed to ultraviolet radiation. The problem is that it is a different form of this vitamin, D2, which doesn't work in the body the same way as a natural form, D3. Vitamin K2 comes from animal foods and it is produced by healthy gut flora. It is different from K, which comes from vitamins. K1 is largely involved in blood clotting, while K2 has many different functions in the body. For example, without it, calcium doesn't go into your bones and teeth. Instead, it settles in the soft tissues, artery walls, the pineal gland in the brain, stones in kidneys and liver, while you are developing osteoporosis and tooth decay. Goose liver, traditional high-fat cheeses, egg yolks, butter, meats, and animal livers are the richest sources of this vitamin. The only plant food that provides large amounts of vitamin K2 is natto, a Japanese fermented soy product. Vegetarians need to make sure they eat natto daily, as well as good quality eggs and cheese, to obtain enough vitamin K2. Fermented foods contain good amounts of this vitamin because it is produced by microbes. In traditional cultures, healthy vegetarians always included fermented foods in their diet: sauerkraut and kimchi, kefir and cheese, fermented grains and beans, and fermented beverages. Zinc is one of the most important minerals a human body uses. It is involved in hundreds of enzymatic reactions, and it is a structural element of many organs and hormones in the body. Animal foods, seafood in particular, are rich in this mineral, while plants contain very little. It is impossible to provide your body with enough zinc on a purely plant-based diet. Deficiency leads to low immune status, anorexia, and other mental illnesses. Poor digestive function, poor perception of taste, skin problems, and problems in the rest of the body. Egg yolks and milk will provide some zinc, but the richest sources are oysters, crab, shrimp, and other seafood, as well as livers of animals and red meat. Deficiencies in other vitamins and minerals, protein, and natural fats are common amongst vegetarians. People who choose this lifestyle must study the value of foods and think carefully about what they eat on a daily basis to provide their bodies with proper nutrition. Without this planning, it is very easy to develop multiple nutritional deficiencies and a degenerative illness. If you are considering becoming a vegetarian or a vegan, I highly recommend a wonderful book by Lierre Keith, The Vegetarian Myth: Food Justice and Sustainability. The author survived being a vegan for almost 20 years until she realized how misguided that was. This book will give you a good understanding of what you are getting into. Vegetarianism and veganism are becoming popular, and mainstream propaganda paints a rosy picture of this life choice. Many people choose this lifestyle for emotional, political, or other reasons without much understanding of what they are doing. Doctors see more and more people who live on plant-based diets with profound mental and physical degeneration. It is particularly sad to see young people suffering from anorexia nervosa, depression, schizophrenia, and other mental illnesses because of vegetarianism and veganism. Many of these patients used to be perfectly healthy before choosing this lifestyle. Unfortunately, once they get ill, it is extremely difficult to help them. It is very easy to destroy your health. It is much more difficult to regain it. Somebody asked me once, I know people who have been vegan for a long time. How do they survive? You can force your body to survive on anything. Let us start by looking at anidia, eating nothing at all. There are religious accounts of holy men and women who were reported to consume no food at all for many years. St. Catherine of Siena, died 1380, practiced extreme fasting for some 15 years. Saint Lidwina, died 1433, who ate nothing for 28 years. The Blessed Nicholas von Feux, died 1487, who ate nothing for 19 years. The Venerable Dominica del Paradiso, died 1553, who ate nothing for 20 years, and others. Of course, that was a long time ago and may not be true, but today there are accounts of yogis in India who apparently eat or drink nothing. In 2010, a team of medics from the Indian Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences, DIPAS, conducted research on one of these yogis. His name was Prahlad Jani. He was 83 years old at the time and came from the temple town of Anbaji in Gujarat. His followers claimed that he had not eaten or drank anything for 70 years. He was observed in a hospital for 2 weeks with CCTV cameras and regular medical testing, and the team confirmed that indeed he did not eat or drink anything, even water, and that he did not defecate or urinate. Fasting produces certain biochemical changes in the body. Researchers did not find any in this man. If he had been eating before the investigation and only begun fasting in the hospital, then his body would have shown those biochemical changes. He insisted he lived on prana, the universal energy field. This study has been repeated twice, so maybe it is possible for a human being not to eat or drink for a long time and still live. The artist Vincent van Gogh, in the latter part of his life, was so poor that he ate virtually nothing, apart from the paint he used for his pictures. It is thought that the lead in the paint poisoned him and caused his mental illness. But he was surviving. Vegans force their bodies to survive on cleansing foods only. That is why many of them look washed out and are severely malnourished. Humans can survive on anything, but I hope we are not talking about surviving. I hope we are talking about optimal physical and mental health, full vitality, boundless energy to enjoy life and be successful, finding love, building a family, having beautiful children, and enough resources to bring them up. I hope we are talking about the full, wonderful experience of human life. If your idea of a happy life is to withdraw from the world and live in a cave, then perhaps keeping your body on the meager level of surviving is the right thing for you to do. But if you want to live in this active world and participate in human activity, you need to look after your body the way this world dictates. Your body loves you and trusts you completely. It will do whatever you demand of it. But shouldn't you love it in return? Shouldn't you treat it with respect and care? Nourishing your body properly is showing it the love and respect it deserves. I would like to finish this book with a great quote from Weston A. Price, a wonderful scientist who at the beginning of the 20th century traveled around the world to study traditional cultures. He was specifically looking for a purely plant-based, healthy culture. He did not find one. This is what he concluded. As yet, I have not found a single group of primitive racial stock which was building and maintaining excellent bodies by living entirely on plant foods. I have found in many parts of the world most devout representatives of modern ethical systems advocating restriction of foods to the vegetable products. In every instance where the groups involved have been long under this teaching, I found evidence of degeneration. Dear reader, I hope this book has brought some clarity to the subject of a plant-based lifestyle. Whatever choice you decide to make for yourself, keep in mind that we are all responsible for the health of our beautiful planet. It is our home and we must look after it. Growing plants on an industrial scale is destroying this home. But it is in our hands to change that and reverse the process, one meal at a time.